Sound checking good? All right, very good. Sounds like we're ready to go. So it's, the hour is now 5:15. We'll call to order the Sacramento-Yolo Port District Commission meeting of November 6th, 2024. And let's see, to lead us off with the pledge, Commissioner Early, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty.
Good, thank you for that. So we'll note that Commissioner Orozco is not with us at the moment. Moving forward, item 1 is presentations by the public on matters that are not on the agenda but within our subject matter jurisdiction. Are there any slips to speak on items that are not on the agenda?
We have public comment from Emily Peterson.
Okay, very good. Peterson, come on up. Good evening. There's a little button at the very bottom, kind of almost on the base, on the mic, facing.
Hello. Okay. Hello, Port Commission. My name is Emily Peterson. At the recent West Sacramento Chamber Forum, candidate and current City Council member Karina Orozco stated that there would be no expansion of the port, mentioning that an expansion had already been attempted. Could the Port Commission provide details on specific expansion efforts that were previously made, including the dates and scope of those efforts? We have reviewed approximately 10 years of documentation and not have identified any such attempts, particularly since the onset of the 2020 supply chain limits, or in light of recent congressional transportation funding in the billions of dollars. Because we had FOIAs ordered and looked through that, didn't see anything. Second, at the last Port Commission meeting, you guys didn't even read out loud that there was a civil grand jury report. You just referred to it as the item number. And with that being, it just looks bad. It looks like you guys are hiding something and then not coming forward and even reading it out loud and expediting the meeting to 1 minute and 30 seconds. It's just, it doesn't feel good. And it feels like you guys don't care about the port. And that is some serious allegations. So if you could please address that too, because as a member of this community and as someone who works at the port, that was really disheartening to hear that it wasn't even spoken out loud about the grand jury report. It was just referred to by its item number. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your comment. Right. So we're not going to engage in a discussion back and forth, but I would just turn to the port CEO, port manager, if there's anything that we can briefly respond to. Was there not a report out on the status of the grand jury report? I thought there was.
Yes, I believe it was one of the last couple meetings. We did a staff report, did the required response to the report. Don't really need to go into detail. You've seen it. We understand, but it was publicly available, the response.
Okay. All right.
And was submitted back to the grand jury.
Very good. And anything else on other comments that are
Sure. I think what the two previous attempts at port expansion were references to the two previous attempts to deepen the ship channel, which one occurred in the 1980s and most recently 2006 to 2013. Those were the two attempts.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, thank you for your comments, Ms. Peterson. Thank you. Okay, we have one item on consent, and that is the consideration and award of a construction contract with Clark Roofing for the installation of a new roof overlay and related repairs at Shed 7 at the North Terminal. Is there any present? Yes.
Sorry, we do have one more public comment from Leslie Alvarado.
And that's on this item?
General comment.
Very good. Okay, Ms. Alvarado, you're up.
Hi. I have a couple questions about some items that have been brought up recently. So in the temporary construction yard license agreement, it is stated that 30.74 acres were purchased by SG1 BR or SGI BR1 LLC, which is owned by Mark Friedman and the Fulcrum Partnership, from the port on June 14th, 2024. Can the Port Commission confirm whether the $6.7 million from this purchase has been fully received and deposited into the port's account? If not, why not? And then I have another question. Under Maritime Code 6894.1B, any sale of land exceeding 10 acres located north of Southport Parkway and west of Lake Washington for non-maritime purposes requires the Port Commission to make written findings supported by substantial evidence showing that the sale is essential to maintaining the port's financial viability. Can the Port Commission provide this written finding and the supporting evidence that justified the sale of the 70-acre parcel for use as a lithium battery factory? I also have a couple questions for you guys. I'm president of the Port of West Sacramento Community Alliance. We have been working diligently to increase more community awareness for the port, preserve the history, and getting the community engaged. We have had multiple port cleanups. I have yet to see any of you commissioners, except for Martha Guerrero and our councilwoman Norma Alcala, join in. We have seen dozens of community members join us, which has been incredible. We also tried to host Port Fest this year, and it was denied. I'm not sure why. Not a single person reached out to me or the nonprofit or any of our other board members to seek any partnership or work together. So I'm just wondering, because I'm sure y'all know I'm Tim's fiance, so you guys know how to contact me personally and Tim, and nobody has ever reached out to anybody. So I'm just kind of confused as to what it is you guys do, because there's been 2 months where there's been no meeting, no reasons as to why there has been no meeting. And the port is a pretty big part of this city, so I don't know how it can function without meeting. So that's all. Thanks.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your comments. So there were a couple questions in there. Just, Rick, I'll turn to you. Yep.
Sure. Question number one, the 6.7 million has been received and deposited into an escrow account, and it's being dispersed out as the infrastructure project is being completed. And the second question, I think the
Seaway,
seaway restriction is
it's the northwest quadrant.
the restriction is actually in the northwest quad. The Fulcrum project is on the northeast quad, so that restriction doesn't apply.
And we've never sold property on the northwest.
Okay, very good.
Right. And then,
All right.
and there was communication
Understood.
from our office so, for the record.
Okay, very good.
I would like to have a conversation with staff about that, to understand that a little better. Meeting.
Which part?
The answer to that question, I don't.
I'm
see a
sorry, which
document.
question?
There was a document, I think somebody waived, that document, but I would like to learn a little bit more about that. That's something that one. I'll get a copy of that and go over that.
So which document are we?
The document that's been waived back there.
I don't
And
know what
then-
that is.
I don't know what that, it's related to this conversation, and just go over it with.
Is there a way to describe what that document is so that the entire commission is aware of what we're referring to? It's.
If you'd like to.
we're going to move on. Okay, so with that, that's the public testimony. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Is there another slip to speak?
We have a couple of speakers here. There was also a public comment that was emailed that you were provided copies with
Yes, we
tonight
have
as
that
well.
in front of us.
And the next speaker is Deborah Machado. Sorry
Okay,
if I
so what
mispronounced
we're
that.
going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and close the slips to speak. So this will be the last, yes, ma'am, come on up. Yeah, go ahead. And then we're going to have staff present on the item. So is there anybody else intending to speak on this item? Now would be the time to submit your name so you can be heard. Okay, yes, ma'am, go ahead. The floor is
Thank
yours.
you.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask Martha. Hi, Martha. I'm from Victory Outreach. Pastor Gary. Okay. Hey, we live on 1399
So, ma'am,
Sacramento.
I'm sorry, we're speaking specifically on the
Yeah.
item in front of us. Is that related to that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And anyway, we're having a lot of fires in the back of our home started by homeless people. We're having rocks thrown at our homes and at the kids in 1399 Sacramento Avenue, and it's a mobile home area. That's where also something happened with the fire department where 2 people had gotten hurt. And the guy that was interviewed with the broken speech, he's the one who's been starting the fires back there. So we have pictures of the people that have been doing this, but we cannot get no help from the fire department or the police department to help us. And that's what I'm saying. If we could find something, Martha, if you could help us. Every day, 1 o'clock in the morning, this man is screaming and hollering that he's going to burn us all down.
So I think Martha just whispered to me that the chief of police, who's standing right over there, would be happy to help you folks.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
All
Thanks,
right.
Martha.
Thank you so
It's
much.
good seeing you, Martha. Bye.
Thank you so much for coming. All right. Any other slips to speak? I don't see any. So with that, we're going to close the public comment portion of the meeting. We do have one consent item that I read off earlier. Rick, are you planning to speak on it at all, or are we good to go?
No, but I can just give you a quick summary.
Quick summary would probably
it's a
be good, yeah.
re-roof project on Shed 7, which is one of our core rice handling facilities. The roof's at the end of its useful life, so it's time to re-roof it, which is our responsibility as the landlord.
Okay, very good. We have a report in front of us. All right, so that's the brief description of the item. It is on consent. Are there any questions of the consent item? Because if there's not, we're looking for a motion to move forward. Yes, ma'am, jump in.
I just want to make sure I understand also because I think maybe, but I'm not 100% that our public comment is related to this. So as the roof is getting fixed, can the facility still be, can the warehouse still be used?
Yes and no. So we've been in the beginning phase of our modernization project, which involves some conveyor demolition, which the initial conveyors to be removed were on top of this roof. So we don't, there's some water leakage that's occurring as we're doing this work. So we're coordinating with SSA to make sure that we're working around their operations. So
Okay.
we've done that successfully.
So it's still being used, but maybe not to its full capacity.
Correct.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
And then if there are no other questions, I did have one, Rick. So in terms of our capital outlay, we've set aside funding for this exact thing. This roof has not been repaired since '06, but there have been some minimal repairs. Were those covered by the port's budget, or did SSA participate in that?
Right. So the roof has been leaking for a few years, and SSA has paid for spot repairs.
So going forward, we repair the roof. It creates better capacity for the port to move more product in and out of there. SSA participates in most of what we do in terms of infrastructure. That's a conversation we've had for quite some time. Should SSA not be participating in the maintenance and ongoing costs associated with the very infrastructure that, if expanded or protected, generates more revenue for their income stream? Is that how is our contract structured in that way? And I'm just curious. I'm reading between the lines here in terms of the cost.
Right.
We're bearing the full cost, but we won't reap the full benefit.
So on a maintenance of existing facilities, when a facility is at the end of its useful life, and it could be pavement, for example. So for a roof. And so in a roof where there's leaks during the, incidental leaks during the life expectancy of the roof, SSA pays for those. When it's time to make a complete replacement, we do that. So this roof has a 20 to 30 year life. Over the next 20 to 30 years, SSA would make spot repairs if there's incidental leakage. And likewise for asphalt, if there's a pothole, here and there, that they make those repairs when we determine that we need to do a complete asphalt replacement project. That would be on us, and we've done that twice as well.
And those terms are actually, that's how it's stipulated in the lease.
Okay, and that's it. I guess that was, okay. All right. Yeah, jump in.
So just to be clear, we are repairing this particular shed warehouse, and have we torn down others that we haven't replaced?
We have torn down one warehouse 5 years ago that was a metal building that had decayed to a point of being dangerous, and so that's the only building that we've demolished. There's some others scheduled for demolition, but we're not quite ready yet.
And just getting back to both the contract and what Chairman? Okay. Villegas asked, if we were to tear them down, or when we tear them down, does SSA then help us to replace them? Or because then they're new, they're not existing anymore, right?
Right. So for new facilities, there's a provision in the lease that allows SSA to make investments and in return negotiate an extension of their lease. So that is all to be negotiated. We've had some conceptual conversations with SSA about new facilities, but nothing firm.
And then last question, I promise.
Yeah.
I know in the budget, we set aside $1 million to support SSA in both ideas, growth, going after new opportunities. Could, again, replacing some of these facilities through their investments or using some of those dollars help, again, the port to either grow or continue in a way that would both support SSA and the port? I'm just trying to figure out, because those $1 million were supposed to be used for the growth or, again, continuing to be a successful, thriving port.
Right. So we set aside, those funds anticipating kind of a joint venture with SSA, supplemented by a grant application perhaps, but also, with investment from SSA and from us and to be negotiated for new facilities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so seeing no other questions, we're looking for a motion to move the item.
Early moves.
I'll second. With Sopizio second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that item moves unanimously. Item 3 is consideration of approval of the minutes. I'm sorry, those are both consent, right? Sorry, I got back to back. Yes, those are two different items. So with that motion, we can adopt the minutes from the August 7th, 2024 regular Port Commission meeting. Sufficient?
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Confirm. All those in favor. Right. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We have nothing on the regular agenda, correct? You sure? I'm not misreading this. And then we go to part 2, which is the Port CEO report.
No report tonight, thank you.
No report. Very good. Any commissioner communications? Very good. So with that, short and sweet, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.